Okay, a huge topic that I want to talk today about is self-image, and it's something that I really value because I feel like it is detrimental to how your life plays out. Every single action that you do and is basically just to fit that version that you have of yourself in your head. And then you could argue that a lot of the actions that we do on a daily basis, a lot of our behaviors, a lot of our feelings, a lot of our emotions, and basically most of the time you're run on automatic. Most of the time you don't even question what you do every single day. And I made a list so I don't get off to topic. So where do these beliefs even come from? And I feel like the reason I'm even saying this right now, like it's not going to change you right now, but I feel like it kind of gives you a peace of mind knowing that, or it doesn't, that a lot of these beliefs and opinions, they're not even yours. So it gives you room, like it gives room to change. It gives room for you to allow to question, what is it that I truly believe in? What is it truly that I want to do in life? What is it truly that I want to work towards? What are my bigger goals in life? My career? What do I want to prioritize in my life? Like these hard questions that people, I feel like, are really lacking right now, like really are not asking themselves. And I do think it comes from the issue that people are living automatically, not asking themselves these questions, living their own cultural norm. Where, for example, in Russia, the normal way of life, and I know not only in Russia, there's a lot of cultures like this where they just finish school, go to university, find a job, get married, start a family, shit like that, 9 to 5. I do notice that a lot of people are questioning this, where a lot of people are trying to start their own things, trying to be more creative, but you still see so much of it where people don't ask themselves these hard questions. And to me, that's a huge value that I want to give to you guys. So, where does it come from? Where do these opinions come from? Where do these beliefs come from? Well, obviously, they come from your family. And a small comment that your papa may have made when you were younger about you not being good enough will translate to your subconscious when you're older. And I'm not a psychologist, but all I know is that the little comments that my family has made me, they did. I see them playing. I see them translating onto my adult life. I see them taking role in there. And this is from me thinking about it, noticing it. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just continue living. A lot of people are, in result of that, more introverted. They don't push themselves more. They seek to be more comfortable. And I'm not trying to justify it. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not trying to make an excuse for it. Like, this is not an excuse, especially if you're an adult. But it kind of explains it. And it should give you peace of mind. And it should give you that room to change. Now, with change, a huge key belief that I used to have is that change was impossible. And the reason I justified it is I said that our habits, they're automatic behaviors. And because they're automatic behaviors, sooner or later, we're going to continue reverting back to our usual way of life. For example, let me give you like an analogy, like a thermometer, okay? Like your standard is here. For everyone, their standard is different. The standard way of life is completely different for everyone. For some, it's more extreme. For some, it's less. Like David Goggins, that's not the usual. But for him running 25, running whatever, how many miles he does is the usual. For other people, that may not be the usual. I know, weird example, but the point is that when you try to change, it goes up. You know, you see that change. You start going to the gym. You start showing up, and then because of that self-image you have in your head, where you feel like you can't stick to something, where you like basically self-sabotaging yourself, you see yourself reverting back. So how many times have you tried to change a negative behavior? How many times have you tried to put a positive behavior into your own life and it didn't work? And this is how I justified change. This is how I was like, yeah, you can change yourself short term, you can change yourself momentary, but you will keep reverting back to your own instincts. Now, I'm no psychologist, and I don't know what happened, but when I changed myself, like actually 180 degrees, I can make a video on how I did that, and I am planning to do that on how I think I did that. In fact, in reality, there's a lot of different variables, and even with me talking about this, there's many different variables to why some people don't reach their goals. Like, the self-image is not the only thing that doesn't allow you to reach your goals. There's probably opportunities, there's probably your skill set, your environment. But self-image, I think, is a key detrimental thing where you can get yourself these opportunities if you feel like if you truly believe in yourself. And I was always against the whole thing where you look in the mirror and tell yourself you're this and you're that, because to me that essentially feels like lying. But I do want to talk about visualization. But before I do talk about visualization, the main thing is that I want you to understand is that your actions and what you do on a daily basis are essentially you. And if you have a version of yourself that you want to get to and you don't have the actions to back up that version that you have of yourself, then you're just, it's going to leave you worse. It's going to leave you worse off because you feel like you're lying to yourself and because you're trying to attain a version that you're not there. Now, with visualization, let me start off with a car example. If your friend tells you, pay attention to how many red cars there are in the street, you're more likely to be attentive to the red cars. You're more, like, even throughout the whole day, you're more likely to notice these red cars, even when you're not trying to. Now, that's just the way our brain works. So, visualizing, and I can't explain it, I don't know the psychology behind it, but all I know is that before I enter a gym, or before I start a conversation, or before I do something, if I play out that scenario that I have in my head, and I play out of it more, maybe this is due to the fact that the more times you do something, the better you get at it. But once I visualize it and I keep visualizing it, I find that it's way easier for myself to do it in real life. Now, I think the reason for that is because I know the feeling that it's going to give me once I do it, and I can visualize that feeling, and I know that feeling is something that is a motivational factor for me, so I tend to do it. I know that pushing myself hard in the gym is going to make me feel better about myself after, so I'm more likely to do it because my brain is at that state right now. Now, you cannot do everything. You cannot visualize everything. So prioritizing what it is important in your life, like I said, your relationships, your career, your health, your nutrition, the gym, whatever your hobbies, prioritizing and giving energy to that and visualizing how you're going to act it out, how you're going to remember it, how you're going to play it out is important. And I feel like that makes you aware, and a big thing is awareness. When you're aware of something, when you have it in your head, when it's running and when it's active, you feel like you're more obliged to do it. You feel like you're more likely to do it. Now, this kind of change, this kind of behavior, it's not long-term in the sense where if you constantly start visualizing every single thing in your life, when you think so much and then you just don't act, you don't do anything about it, that's a problem. But just merely visualizing something before you're about to do it, I feel like it forces you not only to do it, but it gives you that confidence within yourself. And now constantly visualizing and forming these scenarios and these denials that you have in your head, it's not sustainable, because I do think the difference between your perception of yourself and your desired perception of yourself are the actions. So if you're constantly visualizing and not doing anything, that's another thing. But just visualizing, that kind of, it gives it like a boost. It gives it like this confidence. And I don't know, I just personally notice that every single time even with conversations that I have with people, it just always ends up going better. And I do think it is because of the practice that you already have in your own head. Now, going back to change, because I don't think I finished that sentence off, like I told you, I don't know the psychology behind this, but all I know is that if you stick with these kinds of visualizations, if you stick with these kinds of new actions that you've asserted for yourself, that you realize that you want in your own life, and you prioritize that, then it's just all about consistency until it becomes part of your identity. And that's where change lies. It's your identity. It's you being able to say, yeah, I'm a runner. Yeah, I go to the gym. And having those actions back up that version that you have of yourself, I think that's where self-image lies. That's where your self-image is. And you just visualizing that image isn't going to do anything but the point of a visualization is to just give you a boost before you're about to do it. Remember the feeling that it gives you once you've done it. Remember what you are doing. Remember where you are going. Being aware and your goals. And I feel like giving your brain a goal is so important, because if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know how you're living, if you don't know subconsciously just running on these principles, these cultural principles, then it's like, for what, you know? So yeah, ask yourself these hard questions about what it is you want to do, how it is you want to live your life, about what you want to prioritize in your life, and visualize yourself doing these things. And then it's all about consistency. Now, a concern with this, where you, with your own, a concern with self-image is, in order to change it, it requires you to be really attentive and to be really aware, and to like I said, to prioritize what it is you're trying to change. And because of that, you may feel like you're forming your own bubble, your own life, where you're just focusing so much on yourself. And I like to counter this, saying that you doing these tasks, for example, when YouTubers speak about going into monk mode, a stage of your life where you just dedicate it for yourself, I feel like the payoffs are so high later in life, where you'll be making a bigger impact on not only yourself and the way of life for yourself, but also on the people around you. And to me, I feel like it makes you more productive, more happier, and yeah, like I said, it gives you a bigger impact on the people that you have around you if you do focus momentary on yourself and changing yourself. So doing these tasks that you know are extremely important to your own well-being, I don't think it's being selfish. I think it's just you dedicating that time for yourself in order to be that better version of yourself, where you can make a bigger impact on people around you. So I kind of want to end it on this note. I did notice myself going from topic to topic a little and not being that clear. This is not an excuse right now, but I have been fasting for a couple of days and I do feel like my mind's like a little drifty. So I'm gonna go, guys, and hopefully you guys did learn something about your self-image and how important it is on your perceived value. Actually, there's one thing that I want to say, is that with self-image, once you start focusing on yourself instead of seeking that validation from people, and obviously it's a bit biological thing where we do want that validation from people, but the extent to an insecure person and a person who is confident within themselves is completely different. And I feel like truly acquiring that level of confidence where you don't feel the need to prove yourself to everyone constantly, and to constantly be, I guess, sacrificing yourself, people pleasing, it's such a feeling, and it makes you feel so good about yourself, and so really fulfilling, you know. It's a really fulfilling feeling that I hope everyone gets to experience. And yeah, I kind of want to end it on this note.